Hi guys, welcome to today's video. Today we're going to be looking at the 500mm, which shockingly I forgot how long ago I bought this, but this is now 3 years old. And what I'm going to do is talk about, is it a lens that's worth buying now? Because it is a very old lens at this point. You can get them very cheap. But I'm going to talk about one, why I still have this lens, two, if I think you should buy it, and look at alternatives as well, because that's obviously very useful. So first of all, what we can do though is go into showing some photos that I've taken with this lens, and then we'll go from there. So let's head into those images right now. Okay, so the first image here we got is of a blue tit in a tree. This is first in the morning, first light, gold now, as you can see by the colour of the branch and stuff, and absolutely perfect focus. This was on the R7. Which is the one that was slow on focus, but the iFocus got it perfect this time and absolutely smashed it. So here we are, nice in focus and sharp. Next one here is of a hunting dog, and this was taken on the 1DX Mark II. So again, no eye tracking on here, but we found the eye anyway, because, you know, we had to do that back in the day before mirrorless, and it's not looking at me, so it's not the perfect image, but it's still a very good representation of in the light. Was quite harsh conditions. This was December, so very harsh lighting, but still perfectly sharp image. Nice blurred out background. You've got some bokeh balls right at the back there with the fencing, but everything else is super in focus. This is one of my favourite zoo photos. This was on the 1DX Mark I, shooting through wire, snow day, January 2023. I believe off the top of my head, but shot through wire, managed to get nice and focused on the one on the left eye. Because of the way that they walk as in pack animals, you've got the second wolf nicely out of focus, but you can still tell it's another wolf behind. But the wolf at front, tongue out, looking directly at me, in what looks like its natural habitat. You wouldn't know really that this was a zoo unless you were there taking me and I told you at the time. So this is a really, really nice photo taken with the 500mm. And finally you have a cheetah here. This is another one taken on the 1DX. This is through wire again, but nice big thick wire. As you can see, eyes absolutely pin sharp, perfectly in focus, super nice colours, really nice details, background really nice and separated here. And so you next to some of the planting here, which is in focus because it's within the confines of his eye, basically. There is the same line level there, but everything else is nicely out of focus and gives your draw straight to the face here of this cheetah. So those are some of the images I've taken here, some of my favourite images I've taken with this lens. Full disclosure, I have not used this lens or picked this lens up in 6 months now, minimum. There are reasons for that. I now have the 200-400, I've had that a year, and just the practicality of having one lens that you can zoom in and out of and still hit this focal length. Obviously you're not getting the f4, you'll get f5.6, but having one lens this weight on your shoulder rather than trying to carry this lens and then the 300mm and then other stuff and being a bit more limited is a massive advantage of having that lens, and why I bought it, to be honest. I did think that I would be doing more sort of general wildlife stuff like bird photography, hence why I kept this lens as well, and hence why in some ways I still keep this lens. It is a lens that is very, very good in low light, being an f4. The image quality is so sharp, being a prime, that it is just an incredible lens to have, and it's something that I have looked at selling. It's because it has just sat there collecting dust for so long now that it's just absolutely crazy sometimes to think I've got this lens sat there. But people like MPB and Wex are only given sort of £800 back for a lens like this, and to me it's worth more to keep for that sort of money rather than actually trading it in. So you can buy these for about £1,300 to £1,500. If you've got a lens already, like 100-400, or if you've got the 200-400, or if you've got something that will cover this range, even the 300mm with a times 2 converter, 600mm at f5.6, it is sometimes hard to justify a lens like this. This is a lens that you're going to want to use if you're shooting primarily just wildlife It's actually quite good at motorsport as well. I have used this a few motorsport events as well. It's very good in low light because you got the f4, so that's always a plus too if you shoot in those conditions. It's a very, very good lens. But if you already have those other lenses, it's going to be very hard to justify this, because those options like the 100 to 400, a much lighter lens you can walk around with. It is actually more money, the Mark II, than one of these is, but still a very usable walkabout lens. The 200 to 400, a lot more money than one of these. But if you've got it already, you're not really going to need one of these. And let's say the 300mm f2.8 is a very, very usable and versatile lens, where say 600mm with a ×2 converter. The main reason you would want one of these is if you don't have one of those zoom lenses, or you know things that you're going to be shooting are going to be that sort of distance away that you're going to need a lens like this. Obviously, you could go for the 600 f4 as well, but that is actually quite a bit more money. I looked at trading this in for 600mm to think maybe that would be a little bit more practical, but the difference is quite substantial, so that's why I haven't. Also, the 600mm is a fair amount heavier as well. This is, even though it's a heavy lens, it's lighter than the 200 to 400. It's a lot, because it's a Mark 1, it's very front heavy, so be very warned about that. It's a lens that, let's say, I will try and be using more because I want to set up something in our garden for bird photography, and we get some woodpeckers and stuff around here, and I want to set up a sort of hide and a photo thing there, and this will be very useful for that, because I can sit in a makeshift hide that I'm going to make and shoot through towards them when they hopefully land. So, and this is also very good for astrophotography, so the moon. I've been using this quite a lot for when I was using it in the winter for moon photography, just because you put a ×2 converter on it, you got 1000mm f8, and you're shooting at the moon. You're getting the moon fairly large in the viewfinder. I still haven't used this, as I say, I've used it for 6 months now. With the R3 is something I'm very keen to see, because this, being one of the oldest lenses I own, the glass is incredibly heavy. And DSLRs, the 1DX Mark II, has no issues at all with shifting that glass and having the ultra fast focus. But when I was using the R6, it was slightly sluggish, and the R7 was even slower. And that might be part of the reason why I haven't used this as much, because I've been using the R6 primarily before I moved over to the R3. Now I've got the R3, it'd be good to test to see what that autofocus is like. And if you guys want to see that, I will do a video on that. But mainly, if you've seen the photos I've taken and you like them, if you want a lens that's a long focal length, is super sharp and good in low light, then by all means go for this lens. Try and pick up a good condition one. Look out to make sure that you've got all the carry case and everything like that should come with it, because that will show you the person who owned it before cared a little bit more, because they've kept all those parts. Mine came with all the manuals, original paperwork. It even came with the original shipping brown box when I bought mine. So stuff like that to look out for, to make sure you're getting a good copy, and you won't be disappointed by the quality. Just be warned though, it is a heavy lens. I use it with a monopod all the time. I have tried to hand hold it. I can hand hold it for maybe a minute at a time, and I need a bit of a break afterwards. After a day somewhere, that is going to be a very, very tiresome arm. So be warned with that. Most people will probably use it on a tripod with a gimbal, but you can get away with a monopod with the gimbal setup that I use, which I have got videos on in the channel. So hope you enjoyed the video. Let us know if you've got this lens, or you've used this lens in the past, you've used it on mirrorless, or what camera you're using it on, and let us know your thoughts on this lens. Also, as well, let us know where all your photos are. Share your photos in the comments section. I don't mind you linking stuff to your content, your imagery in the comments. It's always good to see what other people who are subscribed to the channel are doing, because that gives me a better idea of what content you guys are looking for. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Please subscribe as always, and I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.